Hi, everybody. Welcome. Come on in. We're going to wait for a few minutes or a few seconds for a few to come in. Welcome to So Creative Sewing View. I am Rhonda, aka So Cool. Today, joining me will be Alea and Rakisha. So, we're going to let a few of you up.
Shout out to
So,
Marquia.
let a few of you all come on in. Hope everyone is enjoying this beautiful day. It's so nice outside, really nice outside. Mm. We can't wait to get out and get out.
It is nice out.
It's
Got a
got
little kiss.
Yeah.
Like to be outside.
Makes you happy.
Okay, we good. All right.
Getting up
All right. Welcome again, everyone, to the So Creative Sewing View. Once again, my name is Rhonda, aka So Cool. With me today, I have Alea. Y'all know this lovely face, and Rakisha. Y'all know that one too. So we glad you all have come in to join us today on the Sewing View. We have fun with you all when we do this. So we want to get started today. We are going to our subject, or what we'll be talking about today, is beginner friendly, I guess, advice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
for sewers. Beginner friendly advice, because we have a couple of things coming up that's going to that we're going to lead you into for beginners. So we are going to ask a couple of questions, and as I'm asking them, if you have some input on what I'm talking about or what I'm asking, please do. We love your interaction. We wish y'all could be here to talk to us, and I could be holding the mic. So what do you think about it? So one day we might get there, but today,
idea.
yeah, I know, right? Today we want to just talk amongst ourselves, and you all, like I said, join in. Okay, so like I said, we're talking to beginner sewing. And one of my first questions for every you all, and they'll join in, excuse me, is we're going to talk about tools. And a lot of you all, you know about a lot of tools that we work with here at So Creative. So the question is, what are some essential tools and equipment you need to start sewing as a beginner? What would you ladies suggest people to get as a beginner sewer?
Well, the first thing I would say is the most obvious.
I was about to say.
It's the most
Say
obvious.
it now, ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. A
Scissors.
sewing machine.
Uh-oh.
I said sewing machine is the most
I
obvious.
would say
I
a
mean,
sewing machine
we're
too.
talking about tools.
Well, it's the tool you're gonna use to sew with.
No, you need, no.
Okay,
It's a
this will
tool.
be second on my list.
I was saying, just like a sewing. Like you need your sewing kit,
So
right?
to give it that you got your machine already.
You should
Then
have
the
your
next-
machine
the
already.
next
And
thing
where
you would
this
need would
one.
be the-
Okay.
next thing
Yeah,
you
so
need
like
is
your
the-
scissors, your measuring tape, your pins, your pin cushion, pin magnets.
Mhm.
That's the one. That's the one tool I'm representing right here. The pin magnet. That's a great tool. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or if you're experienced sewer.
Right.
What I found is that you're gonna lose a lot of pins.
Mhm.
They're gonna hide in your carpet. They're gonna end up in your machines. They're gonna be on your clothes. Like, get you a pin magnet.
Yes, pin magnet. That's a good one. A pin magnet.
Did you say Ripper?
Yeah,
I didn't say
was gonna
refer.
I was gonna say,
I was
I
gonna say that.
happened to glance up in front of me and I see that Clover line sitting right there. Tisha swears by 'em. She introduced me to them at first. But yes, I do agree to that. Seam Ripper, not the one that comes in the kit, like that little standard one, but get the Clover. Like so far, I really, really like those Clovers.
Yeah,
Rippers.
one
Get
with
a
a good grip on it. One with a
Mhm.
good grip on it is super important. And what's the other thing that
What you do with
beginners do? Oh, your tracing wheel.
Oh
A
yeah,
tracing
paper.
wheel and tracing paper is really great when you're trying to learn how to, mark and
Mhm.
transfers
Mhm.
and stuff. I don't know if you're gonna get to that point. And the only last tool I'm gonna say, don't waste your money on. I'm gonna tell you, do not waste your money in buying a loop turner. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
no,
no.
absolutely not.
That
Absolutely
is
not.
a waste of money.
Such a waste of money.
That's such a waste of money. I only say that because when I started out sewing, I bought a loop turner because I wanted to make
Gotta have
straps
everything.
and I gotta have everything. I ended up buying 3 of them
Mhm.
because
The
they
first one didn't work.
broke.
The second one didn't work.
Yeah, and they don't, and it just
Right.
you can right, and you can get PVC pipes.
Or safety
Or
pins.
safety
Or
pins.
safety
Safety
pins,
pins.
yeah.
Yeah.
Save your money, don't buy them.
Don't lie.
Exactly.
Mine
Don't
broke
buy-
the first thing I used it.
It broke.
I bought one from here, and I was like, nope.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
it
Yeah.
yeah. Save your
Save your money.
I see lots of scissors in the comment.
Oh,
Ripper
see?
scissors.
See?
But wait a minute. Jennifer said a sewing machine, and she also said a ruler. We didn't say ruler.
Oh yes,
Okay,
So
your
some kind of measuring
ruler.
tape, some kind of straight edge to measure.
Yes,
on the
yeah.
stationery.
And it's
Either
good to get
seam gauge or a
a
longer one.
a clear ruler. That's a really good tool, so that you can see, you can see the other side.
Right.
Oh yeah, snips. And then little cute snips.
Snippers.
Yeah, I like cute ones too.
And
We know.
and the clips. Now
Oh,
everyone's
yeah.
using the clips now. So the
Clips are good. Clips are good.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known about clips earlier.
Well, I think that really just started maybe a couple of years ago. It was
I feel like quilters may have used them before.
Oh,
we
really?
did.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
They
okay.
did.
Okay.
Now, I guess before we switch, how do y'all feel about beeswax?
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
what?
well, teacher
that's
told
what
me
it is.
about it. When
I
we
mean,
doing,
beeswax is a good thing to have, but
But
is
for
it-
like machine sewing or like hand sewing, I know teacher showed me like we doing a hand needle trying to do something to like, get your thread to go through. I think we were working on some project. And she
yeah,
suggested we do
I was
something.
saying for beginners, like when you first starting out, if they are doing some type of hand sewing.
That like a necessity, first
I
round.
don't think it's a
shop, like
necessity.
your first
Yeah.
shop.
I don't think it's a
On your first
necessity.
shop, like your first time going out to get all the things ready to get started. We got
Yeah, pins,
scissors, pins,
seam ripper,
seam ripper, straight, some kind of ruler, some kind of measuring tape,
pin cushion or
pins and
magnet.
pin cushions or magnet.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like what you need your very first to get you started.
Oh, and get you a case. That was my favorite part about buying. To walk around with it. If you don't get nothing else, go and walk down the aisle with all the boxes.
Exactly. Get the cutest one you can find.
As if you don't have a box at home.
It's not be that cute. It has a little compartment.
But-
And then sometimes have a little pin cushion on the inside. When you open the lid, little pin cushion.
Yeah.
Now you can stick your little pins in there. And you got
And no
Your
free
whole little
advertisement.
flower.
If you go to Walmart, the boxes already have a beginner set inside.
Do they?
Yeah, they come with
okay.
so most of them or majority of them come with the tools all the way underneath the
Yeah.
when you
Okay.
open it, so you can get started.
I bet it's not those yellow head pins. I bet it's those little
The little
silver.
You gonna get what you get. You know,
If you get talking about pins, throw those little silver giveaway pins
Yeah.
out. Throw those out.
yeah,
and
get the
good
ball,
yellow
the
ones.
one with the
The
ball.
longer ones.
Yeah.
We like the yellow ball. I think it's probably quilted pins or extra
Yeah.
long, whatever they are.
Extra long. Yep,
But
for
they're
sure.
longer.
I hate those short.
And then that little ball, you can't even really grab it. Like it's,
Yeah.
But that's what we used to use.
Yeah.
yeah, before the fancy stuff came
Yes.
out. That's true. That's
That's
true.
what we used to use.
Use what you had.
Yeah. So that was a longer answer than I thought.
Oh yeah, somebody said chalk.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the tracer wheel, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Pencils are gonna
Yeah.
come with that kit. You get at least
Yeah.
a white pencil.
Yeah.
Save your money on the I mean, I guess it's nice, the water soluble.
That's your next shop. That's
your next
down the
shop.
line.
Get you some
Yeah.
dollar store chalk.
Yeah.
The old school black wood.
And like I think I told y'all before, I've never bought chalk. I use soap. So if you use soap.
Oh yeah, that I did hear people use soap.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Angela says she likes the beeswax for hand embroidery. See the hand
Yeah,
sewing?
it works with hand sewing. Like it's a good thing if you're starting out as a beginner with hand sewing.
Extra machine needles, that's gonna be important. So once you get your machine out the box, what's underneath, you might go through those, like 1 or 2 needles they give you, but you're gonna need extra
Some
sewing machine
extra-
needles. That's
extra
gonna be
needles.
important. That was a
Yeah.
good one, Mary Ann.
All right. Okay, my next question would be, how do you choose, or what would be the right type of fabric that a beginner would use? What would you suggest?
Cotton.
Cotton.
Cotton for sure.
Don't touch nothing else. Cotton.
Cotton.
Or anything that just I shouldn't say anything. Cotton.
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 And for me, I mean, I guess it's just to explain why. Like, Khadijah's asking, what do you use the beeswax for? We're talking about you slide it along the length of your thread. It helps your thread to move through the fabric more easily.
Yeah,
But speaking of the cotton,
Yeah.
with the thread and the cotton, it may get kind of they are the same. So the beeswax
Yeah.
give you some slip. But
right.
using cotton as your first sewing fabric, because it's sturdy, it stays in place, it goes where you tell it to go.
Mhm.
It's not like it's gonna if you mistakenly pull it, it's not necessarily gonna gather up on you and your stitches look crazy. Like it's very forgiving, it's very beginner friendly, it's very easy to work with. Basically
Yeah.
all I ever use.
Yeah.
I ain't ready for
Yeah.
anything else. It's stress.
Yeah, no.
It's
And, just like what Rakesh was saying, to double back on the beeswax, it prevents it from knotting. Like that's the main use for the beeswax, slipping and preventing it from knotting. Because sometimes you'll be sewing and your thread starts knotting up and stuff like that. And the cotton, before you can stick with the same measurements. It doesn't require extra brain power or math. Because most of the time when you use knits, you want to cut smaller. Versus if you're using a cotton, typically you can cut something that's really true to size. Versus if you're doing something with a stretch. That's another conversation.
Easier to handle for sure. And directional fabric.
Yeah.
Oh, Jennifer saying no directional fabric, right?
Yeah, no directional fabric.
Bunch of birds flying. South lessons for them.
Right.
Tisha wants her money going the right way. So all the things. Non-directional fabric easy is easy.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So the next question would be, what are some beginner-friendly projects? What would you suggest for them to do as a beginner project?
Circle skirt.
Circle? You think that would be easy?
Yeah, circle skirt is
I'm thinking about the hem.
Trying to turn that curve up all the way around.
Okay, hold on. Y'all getting fancy. I'm talking about your regular, like 1-2.
But how you gonna hem it? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
You talking about gather skirt or
a gather? No. I should say gather. A gather skirt.
Okay. I'm about to say
like a gather skirt with a casing.
Okay.
Not the one with the curve. Just a regular gather skirt. Yes.
Yes. With some elastic.
Yes.
Okay.
This came on this ball took me out, and I've been sewing for a little while.
Oh my gosh.
As a beginner with that circle skirt hem, that's gonna be a bit much.
No. Just a regular gather skirt.
Take one seam, the casing in the hem, press it out, and you're good to go.
I would stay away from curves as much as possible when you first start sewing.
Bernice saying a tote bag and an A-line skirt. A tote bag and a pillow, I think.
Tote bag,
pillow. So the tote and the pillow we use in our beginner program anyway. So
tote
the first two projects.
So those are all straight lines. Even the pajama pants. That's a straight line. So anything with straight lines, you can ease your way into something with some curves or something.
And I would suggest something with some size to it too. I know a lot of people, not lots of people. I've heard people who want to make like dog clothes, but like little teeny tiny pieces, and that may be hard to maneuver as a beginner. You're trying to feel your machine and feel like how fast your pedal's going to get you sewn and that kind of thing. So with the tote bag, and if it's a good size, 12 by 12, 16 by 16, you got some time to gauge and pace yourself as you're pushing it through the machine.
Yeah, and the other thing is too is that starting out as a beginner, you want to try to stick with projects that allow you either the standard seam allowance, which is 5/8, or something bigger than that. Because if you get to smaller seam allowances, it's going to be hard for you all, for them to sew it and put it together. You'll probably find yourself being more frustrated, and you might throw the machine on the ground. So,
Hey, Miss Clementine.
I know most of you all out there are sewers, but you may be beginners. I know some of you are in the different memberships, and we know some of y'all are stuck. You might be stuck a little bit with all that we send you, and just trying to keep up. But just know that it takes patience, especially for a beginner. And if you really want to do it, you'll get it. You'll flow into it, and always start out with something beginner, so that you give these big projects and try to jump into it, that'll just turn you off totally. So a beginner-friendly project is a key. That's key.
That's key.
Mama Chanel just popped into the chat. Hi, Mama Chanel. So shout out and a plug real quick for our So Creative kids. Just this Sunday, they finished up their spring semester of their class. They did a little fashion show, and they had some of the cutest the gather skirt was one they did. Her baby had a skirt and the embellished hoodie that she did, and so. If our babies can do it, I mean, I had excellent instruction for those entire 8-12 weeks. But our babies can do it, then yes, anybody should be out here putting needle to fabric, making stuff.
And the other thing that I guess we didn't mention, like that's a good beginner project, is going and revamping stuff that you already have. I think that's a good intro to sewing, because let's say you go to the thrift store, maybe you have some old clothes. That's a good way to practice, because you already have it. You didn't spend no extra money on it that you may not want to invest right away. And you can actually see how things are already sewn and try to mimic them if you take it apart and try to put it back together. That's like a really good way to learn how to do stuff and make mistakes without dropping too much money on it as well.
No money will work,
yeah, like if there's a way to be, because it can be expensive. And sometimes I found that when I was sewing as a beginner, you know, you may want to get a pattern, you may want to do stuff, but it's intimidating. And so I may go and buy fabric, and because I don't necessarily have enough knowledge to know the difference between a 45-inch bolt and a 60-inch width, or, you know, I may be buying a project, getting ready to think I'm about to do all this stuff, and then I get home, and the moment that I'm stuck, what do I do? Like, you know, where do I go? Versus like, if I just said I'm gonna take the sleeve out and try to put it back and see how far I can get, knowing, you know, just different ways to practice on those curves or sharp edges that, you know, you may be intimidated by.
All right, I never thought about that. Okay. Next question. I know that, like we said, we send you all patterns and fabric and stuff. So we want to know, how do you understand, and what do you recommend for a beginner? This kind of a question for you all. How would you, or how do I want to say this? For reading patterns, I'm talking about patterns. So is there something that you need exclusively in order to learn how to read a pattern? You understand what I'm saying? So like our instructions, we try to make them as ABCD, as simple as possible for a elementary school person to read. So if that is enough, do you think if something else is needed, or what other type of instructions do you need
to learn how to read a pattern?
To learn how to read a pattern.
I guess it depends on the sewer. I'm thinking about but I know for a fact, like the glossary that comes there. So there's vocabulary that you're going to see at the beginning, so you can kind of prime your brain, like, okay, I'm going to see seam allowance. What even is seam allowance? And so as you're reading your pattern, you'll know what that means in the beginning. But also, I think the illustrations can be helpful, but it's tricky because sometimes, like the whole depth perception, right side, wrong side, the illustrations can mess you up sometimes, or confuse you, make you get stuck for a longer time. So for me, I still do it to this day, but when I get stuck on a part, I'll read it to myself. It doesn't make sense. I read it out loud. I read it to somebody else. Like, okay, maybe I didn't hear something right. Let me read it again. So you read it you read the whole thing through, then you read it again. Like, okay, let me make this make sense, and like talk yourself through it. That may really kind of bring some things to light.
Yeah, and I think for me, like when I was starting out learning how to read a pattern, the biggest help that you can get are any type of pattern books. That's super helpful. Definitely what Rakeisha said, the glossary. You need to know your terminology first. We actually have a blog post coming out about that. Check the newsletter. But yeah, your terminology, you don't want to just get a pattern. Like if you get a pattern, highlight some of the words that are on there that you're not 100% sure about what it means. So therefore you can look them up. The other thing I will also recommend too is looking at what we call in the sewing world a key. Your key is very important. Okay, so that will give you an opportunity to learn how to tell the difference between your right side of the fabric, your wrong side of the fabric. Maybe you're looking for indentations that are on the patterns, and also do it in sections. It's going to be very intimidating if you just pull your pattern out and start throwing everything everywhere. Like Rakeisha said, going through your instructions before you even start cutting your pattern and things like that, getting an idea of the language that that you're reading and trying to comprehend it, because it becomes too much when you're trying to cut, read, and understand. It's harder to do. It's just a lot harder to do. And so I recommend taking your instruction book that comes in the patterns and going through each page and understanding them by sections, and then actually moving forward and try to create or make your project. And also YouTube videos. There are some YouTube videos. If you look for your pattern that you bought, you may be able to find an actual YouTube video on it.
He offered a suggestion with some encouragement. She said, don't be intimidated.
Yeah.
Read one line at a time, like take
One
your
line
time.
at a time.
Bernice is saying the same things. If you don't understand, just take your time, read the pattern.
Yeah.
Because you understand everything.
Yeah, and when just to emphasis on that one line at a time, that is such a serious statement. I don't know how much emphasis I could put on that. And I mean one line, like it may say cut 2, fold 4, drop 7 or something like that, right? Something crazy. Don't do anything like cut 2 first, then move on. So then digest it. Because if not, next thing you know, you was trying to cut out a triangle and somehow you got a square. So
You're looking back like, I thought I had
where are my pieces?
Right.
I didn't cut that piece out already. This is an extra step.
Yeah.
So Belisa must say, shout out to YouTube University.
Yes, shout out to YouTube University.
Kim was saying that she likes the video edition. So I guess the technology has helped us along the way, so you don't just have the illustrations anymore. And like with our sew along, to be the videos, of course, with Tisha, our master instructor,
right?
Step by step by step, you can see someone talking. You read it, you have it in your head, and you hear it, and now you see it with Tisha doing it.
Yeah,
it puts all the pieces together for you.
And maybe we'll have another session on like going through, like just patterns in general. Because I was gonna say how we said there's a line, doing it by line, but it's also good to walk the steps as you're going through them with the fabric. So like put this face down, flip this over, and seeing like, okay, does this make sense before you start pinning it, before you take it to the sewing machine, like actually walk through that section of steps before you implement it, because you may try and then you get the machine and like, my pocket's upside down, my zipper's backward.
Pockets will definitely set you up.
Yes, pockets will set you up. Okay.
Right. Okay, I was going to say shout out to the YouTube University and the different videos, but I know for me, when I had people come into my classes, it's because they can't do it online. They need hands-on, and that's me. I have to be hands-on. I could watch a video and be like, no, but I need to touch, feel, and see when I'm learning stuff, especially with sewing. And that's what a lot of my students come in like. I've tried the YouTube and stuff, but it's like it's just not working for me. So they'll come in and have an actual class. So also find a class. We have them here, beginner-friendly classes to take, and you'll feel much better by someone giving you step-by-step direction. Someone is right there to show you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong as a beginner.
Yeah. And one thing that Tisha does before we move on is highlighting your size on your pattern, which just seems to be like learning those lines and knowing what it is that you're cutting out before you just take it. Now that may be a little harder for the what are they, like tissue paper style, but you can use a color that's that will still appear on there, but highlighting those sizes, because you can cut the wrong line real fast.
Especially those lines start to grade together like around the crop, curves.
Yeah. Okay. Good answers. Are there any tricks or tips for making sewing easier or more efficient?
Yes. Don't overthink it. That's the first thing. Half the time, a lot of people, because I've done it myself, it's exactly what you're thinking it is. Okay. The moment you start thinking like this can't be this easy, or maybe there should be an extra step, or that it should seem a lot more intricate and detailed, half the time it's not. It's really just exactly what you're nervous about doing. I feel like people require a lot of reassurance before they decide they want to cut, or before they decide they want to sew. I always tell people you have to make the mistake so you know how to troubleshoot it later on if you ever come across it again. So if you're wondering like, hey, should I cut this? Do it, because you're not going to know how to fix a problem unless you encounter it and face it head on. So that's my first piece of advice when it comes to making it easier. And then also the last thing I'm going to say is you don't have to follow every single thing by the book. Like that is such a serious thing, because I feel like, we as people sew but then they forget that they can be creative. And it's like, you can be creative with your project. Just because they gave you a dress that has the sleeves and the ruffles, you don't have to put the ruffle on there if you don't want to. It's really what you want it to be. So allow yourself to be creative. If a technique seems too hard for you, don't force yourself. Recreate the design. You can literally go anywhere. And I feel like a lot of people just skip that part. They skip the part. They're like, oh, I didn't make my project because this wrap was too difficult. Okay, so what else can you do? Like we came out with our cargo pants, and some people avoided making the cargo pants because they didn't want to do a fly zipper. But I made the cargo pants and I did an elastic waist. But I didn't give up on the pants because I was afraid of a zipper. I just changed the waistband. It didn't allow myself to be stopped because I had a challenge or I was faced with something that just seemed hard.
Yeah. Okay. I think that comes with experience too, though. Like as a beginner, you may not even realize or even know what creativity you can even have. A couple people suggested in the chat that you make a muslin, kind of like you're cutting and put them together. And now if you're playing around with it, something that you can play with, then you can say, oh, well, maybe I don't need the sleeve to be right. You're like with this one, this is the ivory dress that I'm wearing. It had sleeves, but instead of trying to figure out how to taking time to turn it and top stitch, I put some bias in here to get me around that curve. But only because I knew
sleeveless.
Yeah, and for summertime. So like a beginner may not even be aware of what bias tape and what it does and other things. But like as you experience projects, I know we talk with our beginner students all the time. Like once you made the pajama pants, you can make pants.
You can make pants.
You're gonna put the legs together, put them together, and then like it's gonna be the same process every single time, but it might be a shorts. It might be longer pants. Might have a cargo pocket, but the essential, the nuts and bolts of it are still one leg, that inseam, and all the things. Kind of once you become more familiar with in your sewing process, you'll know where you can make decisions, creative decisions, and
I feel like I just think people make things overly complicated. It doesn't have to be complicated. If you got the pants and when you tried them on, they were high waters. If you don't cut them at the knee and made them a bit brutal,
and then say the scrap fabric for a headband.
Say the scrap fabric for a headband. Make it an outfit. And then if you tried the pants on and they were too tight, if you don't cut that at the crotch and make a skirt, you got
options.
You have options. You have a lot of options. Don't just feel like you have to go buy the book.
Yeah.
Like
something. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You can do a lot.
Step outside of the box.
Yeah.
Outside of the box.
Khadija said placement is my issue. But I still needs placement is my issue. When can you, I guess, elaborate a little more when you say placement?
I want to see if it's like pattern placement. I know I see Khadija post a lot in the Facebook.
Pattern placement.
I think Mama Chanel's talking about she forgot about those pads.
Yeah.
Listen, those Corey Carver pads put some people through some things.
They put people because people are
I hit in my face because that fly zipper, that's like my kryptonite. I know. I'm working through it. I had a personal session with Cecily. I hope she's not on here because she will call me out every single time she gets a chance. But I mean, there's certain things like, again, with practice, the more familiar you become with it, I just avoid it. I haven't had much practice with it.
You know what that means?
What does it mean?
I'm gonna call her out.
What does it mean?
You don't gotta worry about it. I'm gonna call her right now. Since she avoided the fly zipper, right? And she may have started the project, but that just means she did not read line by line. She did not walk through her steps with herself to get through. She just avoided it entirely.
I mean, I aspired to do it. I wanted to get those done.
It's not hard.
Every time I look at those are the faux Corey because I didn't finish it the way they were looking. A little bit shade, she'll call me out or whatever. But I mean, for me, because I'm always going last minute, I'm ready to wear it the next day. I want to get it done versus like sitting down, taking my time, learning this new technique, installing it properly. I'm gonna get it because I know summer breaks. I got time.
And you could do a makeshift. You could cut out a 10. You could take some 10 by 10s and practice.
We did. We had 2 pieces of fabric.
Right.
Yeah.
That
little it's that mark.
It's that
under the zipper. The one mark that has to be like perfect, that square. They have to line up perfectly. Mine just, I don't know. It's nothing.
One step at a time. It's one.
So you have that little curve thing, and like the little piece that comes out like this, and it lays on top of this piece.
She doing this.
Like if it were two flat fronts. I'll show you what I'm talking about. If it were 2 flat fronts, where that zipper would be installed, like right below that zipper, that little curved stitch that you do. It's that intersection right there. You put attach two pieces of fabric together. I don't know what it is about that. It does something to me. Like I can't. Once I did it wrong, and I'm traumatized. Like I can't get out of it. When I see fly zipper, I'm like, oh my God. If somebody comes to Open Studio with another pair of pants, I'm like, okay.
Can I give us a story? A quick story. No, so one time, I was covering Open Studio for Miss Paulette. This is like back when we were at the older building, and two of her students came in. They were making pants, and they had two different patterns, and they both were doing a fly zipper. Mind you, I had never in my life I was hiding from the fly zipper, and so. But I couldn't let them see me sweat.
Right,
I couldn't let them see me sweat. So she's like, yeah, so like, can you help me do this fly zipper? And I'm like, in my mind, like, no, I can't help you do this fly zipper. But in turn, I ended up helping them. And the only reason I was able to help them, I took her pattern or her fabric that she cut out, and I literally laid everything, and I followed the instructions line by line, and I walked through as if I had already sewn it together. So like, let's say it said paste this fave down, sew it, and then flip it, and I would act as if I didn't, even putting pins in it, and I would flip it to the right side just to make sure it looked right. And so I was honestly, we were surprised, and with that, it was right. It was right, and she was like, oh, that was so, and I was,
girl, that's what I do.
Girl, you would never know. You never. I'm like, we learning together. So you can fake it till you make it. That's all I would say. That's the advice. You can fake it till you make it.
That's also a good thing to be like around it, like in person, and being with the community, people who have other skills than you have. Y'all can work together, bounce ideas off of each other. So that's another piece to keep in your back pocket.
Okay, nice. I'm just reading some of these. Khadija says she has trouble with placement is my issue, matching up the pattern. I was super proud of making the boxers. I got the notches in to match up perfectly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling.
That's a really good feeling. And I will say you can mix and match your patterns a lot. I understand most sleeves are very, similar when it comes to like the curves and the design. It's like Rakisha said, if you made pajama pants, like you can make pants, you can make them skinny leg, you can make wide leg. You can do so much, but don't feel like you have to have a like replica of a pattern. Like that's where I feel like being creative comes into play. Take that seam apart. Like maybe you don't need to hem it, or maybe it doesn't need to be as long. But don't be afraid, and also take advantage of your tracing paper and your tracing wheel. That's what a lot of people don't do. They get their patterns and they just be like, oh, I'm gonna just put this here. And then when it doesn't make sense, it's like, well, how can I make this work? And so my advice when it comes to just pattern mixing, and I'm gonna use a sleeve, for example. Let's say I bought a Butterwick pattern and had a sleeve in it, and I liked another sleeve, I would line them up together, lay one on top of another, line it up and see where your lines are meeting. It's all about the lines, like everything that's in front of you. So the lines make sense. You want to keep that same curve at the top, but maybe your bottom is where you're going to have fun, right? Like, don't make it complicated, right? Like, make it as easy as possible. So, a little nice on that.
Breaking patterning is a thing, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that, put it together and make it your own.
Bam! And honestly, nobody knows if it's wrong. It's whatever as long as one side matches the other, you can walk out.
Like, it's not a Gordon Gartrell.
Yeah.
Anything else is a design decision that I chose to make.
Right. And that's what being the fashion designer is. If you notice, most dresses, pants, tops, it's pretty much the basic when it comes to all of this, your body parts. But then if everything is a sleeve change, a collar change, or maybe a button, you could have a t-shirt and split it open and put buttons on it if you want.
Yeah.
There's so many things you could do with a basic pattern.
Basic pattern.
Basic pattern. Just change it up.
I saw a designer walking, going to Paris Fashion Week, Latina. They had on a vest vest. It was like she had on a vest, and then her sleeve, instead of it being a sleeve, it was across the top, and but it was the sleeve, and so it was like, well, it was showing that I don't need to put. Guess what? That's for my beginners.
Wait, did she have it on her arm? Was it like
no?
It was like an embellishment.
It was like an embellishment. Like like she just took the sleeve and tacked it, and literally that could be for somebody's like, this sleeve give me a problem. You know what? I'm putting it across the shirt.
That just gave me an idea though.
I put yeah, she tacked it. Like, who said I needed a sleeve anyway?
And she definitely go in the store and buy it that way.
No,
you say, I made this.
Right,
Yeah, I made this. This is mine. It's my original design.
Yeah,
everybody's gonna want it. Right. Okay. So now we want to know, what are some common? No. I'm sorry. Wrong question. Sewing machines. What are different types of sewing machines that you would suggest for a beginner? Now we know that we have two major designer names when it comes to sewing machines. You have Brothers and Singers.
Team Singer.
And
Team Brother.
Team Singer.
Well, no, I gotta. No.
Team Brother.
I'm a mixed family. No, I'm gonna say I'm a mixed family. I got a little of both. I do. So I got a mixed family there. So those two are the major names that most people know and you see in most stores. So I always suggest to people either one of those. I always tell them don't spend no more than $200 for a beginner's machine because they can get pricey. They'll want more money just because they have 500 stitches on them. No, and that's the only thing
you're not even gonna use it.
Yeah, you don't even use them. We only use a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch and the buttonhole stitch.
Yeah,
that's all we use.
Yeah,
that's all we use. So I don't know if y'all have any other ones that would say for a beginner. I'll try other brands too that they all do the same thing.
Like, to be honest, it's not even like, I feel like it's just like an affinity, like a love that you have for the brand. Like my mother had Singer sewing machines, my grandma, like Singer's my family. Like that's what we do. But it's like Coke and Pepsi. It's like it's a cola. Like you're gonna get the refreshment, you're gonna get the bubbles you need, the caffeine. But do you prefer the Pepsi taste with the blue can or the Coke taste with the red can? So
right.
Singer and Brother, like for the most part, they are, like, especially at the beginner entry level. Not much difference on, but once you get higher, more expensive, you're gonna get the self-threading, and they want to remind you when your bobbin is out. All those things that we need to fast. Well, I don't say the things
I'm working on that.
It might be a little bit more money, but the things as you get higher up the lines, the Viking and all the fancy ones, have different features, like getting into like the luxury car kind of level, versus like your entry level point A to point B. I can sew my garments. This is what we need, or your preferences change. And again, as a beginner, you don't need all these things. You don't even know about all these things yet. You can sew your straight stitch, your zigzag, and your buttons. Get a feel for all of that. And you're ready to venture out. And now you want a sunroof in the car. So the next car could have the fancy things on it.
Yeah. And I agree. Like you said, Singer, Brother, or but I guess my advice would be is don't cheat yourself by going to buy that nice expensive machine. Like Rhonda said, don't spend no more than $200, but get that machine that requires a little more manual work to it, because if you do buy a machine that is a electronic and is automatic, you're going to really cheat yourself out of the experience, right? Because again, for me, I upgraded my machine, but I also learned how to adjust my stitch length. I also learned more about the width and the tension. Like those are really important. And when you get those automatic machines, they set them for you already. But if you don't know how to set them, let's say, you need to change your stitch width or you need to change your tension up a little bit, you are not going to know how to do it if you cheat yourself and buy that expensive machine. Get you one that you're okay with learning on, and you're going to do some manual work with it, but you'll be happy with the knowledge you gain from it.
Or even why you would need to do it, because if you press a button and it does it for you, you won't get to see the mistake or the thing that you want to change.
Exactly.
Without you having manually adjusted each setting yourself.
And sometimes you may not have your sewing machine. Let's say I go somewhere and I need to sew something for somebody, and they got a regular sewing machine. And for the love, every time you pull that thing and flip it over, that bottom thread is just gathered all up, it's all twined together. And what you gonna give it back? Like, here you go. You can wear it.
Work. I don't know. I need another one.
I need another machine. I only use automatics. Don't worry. I don't use automatic machines. this. I can't do this for you.
Right.
So, don't cheat yourself.
Yeah, don't cheat yourself. And like she said, like we said, just get something that you're comfortable with. If you could go to thrift stores, have them all the time. Some for beginner, just if you don't want to spend the money, just get what you're comfortable with.
Oh, and what's Carrie's store? Aldi.
Aldi. Yeah.
Aldi sells sewing machines. I know I got some Aldi.
That's where I got those
if you
fingers
find
from.
them, yeah,
They're like it's like a cult, but they can.
Yeah.
I know y'all listen to
Gotta
groups, some
find that
Aldi
special
groups.
sale for Aldi.
They be having sewing machines
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's pretty much all of our questions that we
the
have.
pawn shop too.
A what?
They take us to the pawn shop.
Yeah, the pawn shop. That's pretty much all your questions that we have to talk about. Does anybody out there have any questions, beginner questions that we could help you answer? Put it in the chat real quick, and so we can answer. Talk about what it is that we may not have talked about. So just let us know what it is you got for us, or somebody out there.
Mama Chanel just shared a personal anecdote. We started out with the basic brother machines at the old studio, but now at the new studio we have these Berninas.
No, she didn't.
I think her baby's been
Her daughter wanted a big machine.
Big Berninas now, so she has a brother at home.
Alex,
She wants these machines.
We do have these Berninas.
That's right, Alex. Speak it. Put it out there in the universe.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
what you want, girl.
Yeah. I will say that because you don't know how long the machines are going to last. But you also don't know how. I feel like some people, they pick up sewing and think like, oh, I'm gonna enjoy this, and think like it's gonna be like whatever, and then they get to sewing and they're like, this is not what I want to do. Which is why we're saying don't invest in the most expensive machine, because this may not even be for you.
Yeah, Denise is like, don't cheat yourself, but then don't get the cheapest either. So
right.
Get what you can afford. Like when I was looking for a house years ago, my dad, he was selling real estate at the time, and he was like, get the most house you can look in the best neighborhood, the best zip code, and get what you can afford. Like shoot for that, but get where you're comfortable.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and someone said, remember to clean your machine. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's super important. Cleaning your machine. You can get. Oh, okay. So could you you can get some for free on gifting groups.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Speaking of gifting, my coworker knows I sew. She just walked in one day and gave me a machine.
Nice.
What you were saying, like she took it, thought she's gonna like it. Neither she nor her daughter wanted to be bothered, and literally like the accessory kit and you pull out from the bottom has not been touched. Like she's made it so once or twice.
Yeah.
It's in my classroom.
That's also another thing I was gonna say. Check out Facebook Marketplace. Like there's when you get into sewing, people are gonna start just giving you stuff. Before you spend all your money on it, people will give you things.
Fabric. I'm always getting fabric. That's a tip for beginners.
That is a tip.
So I may have gone down a rabbit hole too far too soon, but my advice for beginners: learn from my mistakes. When you first get started, you don't need all the fabric.
Oh my gosh!
No, you don't.
Even to this day, now it's hard to turn. Now listen, you have to find a balance between it. There's two hobbies now though, because there's sewing, but there's also fabric shopping. They're two totally separate hobbies that you can have.
I never thought of them, but
they are.
No, that's a real thing.
Because you think about like unique things like African prints and batiks that you're one of a kind, one off you may not find again. Okay, fine, you gotta get it. I'm sorry, you just gotta get it. But like if you go into the regular stores, you're not gonna shout anybody's name, anybody promotion. But the stores you regularly go to, you see the bolts in the wall that you're always gonna see at all of their stores.
Yeah, right.
Get what you need. If the pattern costs for 1 1/8 yards, go ahead and get 2. But don't just buy them all because they're on sale or because they're all your favorite color. Pace yourself, buy per project, finish those projects, and then go shopping again.
Yeah.
Unless it's African print, and you gotta get it.
And I was gonna say the other advice I would give, running off of what Rakisha says, is that get you some Ziploc bags, some really big,
2.5 gallons,
and make them your project bags. What I found is that when I started sewing as a beginner, I couldn't keep up with my pattern pieces. They would rip, or I just had stuff everywhere. There was stuff. It became stuff, and it was just everywhere. The fabric, I would cut it out. Try to be as organized as possible. Put your stuff in a project bag, label it, and then also try to give yourself a date or a deadline in which you want to finish it. because most sewers don't finish their projects. That is
they do, Alea.
Okay, right.
Advice for beginners. You always start your project and you finish it. That's what they do.
Always finish your project.
Right.
Look, when we had the last
Go ahead.
You bring your own.
I'm gonna say I just finished what I was working on the other day. I had to wear it on Saturday. I finished it on Saturday morning.
Okay, so as you all know,
shout out to Naima.
Most sewers do not.
Can you keep your hands to yourself, please?
Most sewers do not finish their projects. Okay, let alone a lot of sewers don't even start their projects. I'm also one of those people too.
As Marquia chokes over here.
Yeah, because there are, like she said, shopping for fabric versus actually using the stuff they're two different hobbies.
Absolutely.
They're just two different hobbies. There's been so many times I go in the store, got my patterns, I'm just walking around like, oh, I think I'm gonna make this jacket, and I'm gonna make this skirt. I'm gonna make this book bag. I don't need a book bag, but I'm gonna make this book bag. It's cute. It's gonna be cute,
right?
And then 6 months goes by,
and it's still sitting there.
Oh, it's under the desk, in the box.
Thrown in the stash.
The next thing that I just bought because
looking at it, I should make this today.
No.
Not yet.
So if I was you, I recommend getting a project bag, giving yourself some dates and deadlines, and then also a calendar. Like schedule out some projects that you want to work on. So therefore you will start to feel more like you're accomplishing things if you can stick to a deadline. And you can also see how long it takes you to sew something. Yeah. Most people don't know how long it takes to actually create the projects that they're working on.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing, like you write it down. It's like it's a thing now.
Yeah. It's a thing.
It's official. Like I have to do.
I have to do
get done.
Especially with a deadline, that helps me myself. If I give myself a deadline, that means I gotta finish it.
Yeah.
So I will.
If I don't have no deadline, it's gonna be 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. Woo! Oh yeah, 3 years. That's what it's gonna be. No deadline. You're just not gonna get nothing. You're going to try to finish, but just like Rhonda said, you're gonna look at it like, oh, this is nice. I should do this. TV.
But don't be a procrastinator, because if you had, even with that deadline for me, I would do it the day before the deadline.
Yes, that's the next point I was gonna say. Stop with the night before sewing. Yes, okay, that's a real thing.
No, shout out to Naima because she has an event at 4:00 today. So I'm praying and hoping that she's got what she needed done. So she'll be bringing it today, now.
Yes.
Now, so Belisa, you're probably in the minority, but you do exist in our community. She says her OCD won't let her start a new project before finishing another one.
Ooh.
So now I do know people like that. I don't know very many people like that.
No.
I don't think anybody at this.
I wish I had that type of OCD.
But so Belisa, we need you in our community. You continue to give us that energy and share that out, showing us those finished projects, encouraging us to finish some projects as well.
Yeah, right. Finishing your projects and.
Did any questions come through my thing?
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Okay.
Two guns of bags.
Bernice said she gets her best sewing done at the last minute. That's me.
Well, that's what I said. So,
but that's why. Now see, okay. So listen, I'm gonna admit something without talking about me. So I'm not gonna admit for all my beginners out there. So if you aren't retired and at home sewing all that, like so many in our community are, and you kind of work during the day, and you just gotta get it in when you can get it in. You know, it might be a good idea just to prepare lots of projects so that when the time strikes, you can get up and get sewing. So like I know that my soul sister Carrie. She gets up first thing in the morning before work, before showering, just roll over and sew for 30 minutes every day. And it's a routine, it's a system for her.
But she's ready.
I'm talking about Carrie right now. So she's always ready. Her things are ready. She gets in the machine, go for it. And so for me, I find because I have a smaller space, that if I'm able to cut lots of things and they're ready, and they laughing at me, y'all. If the things are already cut in the project bag, when the time is right and when the spirit moves me, I'm ready to go grab that bag and just sew and sew and sew. And a lot of times I'm sewing at the last minute. So I need it to already be cut because I don't have time to think about it.
But it was already cut, right?
But it's already cut. Yeah.
So I hate that part.
That's the worst part, right?
Cutting does take a long time. I will say but try to give yourself some time because you're gonna think like, oh, it's just a
Yeah.
two seams.
Or you
I can sew
a
it.
1 hour project. You forgot the 1 hour you got
Right,
to cut it out.
Yes, I can do this. I gotta be there at 5. It's 1 o'clock. Watch this. I gotta be there at 5. I can do this. And then what's gonna happen is you're gonna be walking out the house going.
No lie.
You're gonna be walking, and then when you get to the party, they can be like, "Oh, girl, you got a hole right here. You got a hole right here. It's okay. I just took this up this morning."
That's one thing I do, make sure that everything is right before I walk out the door. I might feel so, but I'm
I feel straight that
No
you
hole.
sit in the car, but other than that,
It's
you
slipping
ready.
in the car.
Slipping in the
Slipping in the car.
Yeah.
Okay, you can sit in the car. So try to get yourself some time and just remember that things take a lot longer than what you really expect them to, even if it seems like it's the easiest project. Like that be the day that your bobbin is just empty. Okay, that's the day that your needle decides to break.
Yeah.
Okay, it didn't break the whole 3 times. Okay, that's the day that you can't find your foot pedal. So
There's always that. There is that. That's a real thing.
that is a thing. Look, ask Marquia if she found her foot pedal. And how long it take?
How you lose a foot pedal?
I'm telling you, and she was hand cranking. She had the hand crank.
Faces and things, so yeah. I'll get very fast.
She had the hand crank. Okay. Okay. If you try to do some last minute, now you hand cranking and you upset. So.
Hey, Mark, we're not talking about buying any fabric.
Okay.
Hey, Mark. Everybody smile away.
Hey, Mark.
Yes. So,
Okay.
so Belisa, that's a great question. So this is going to be a debate, y'all.
What?
She says it's a good idea to cut everything. Thank you very much. Got everything cut and prepped and ready to go. But does that now create a UFO? Is that considered a UFO?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you never even started it. How can it be finished? Unfinished. It wasn't even started yet.
It was. You cut
So when
it.
you cut it, that's not.
Yeah.
So Belisa, I don't know. I'm going to say
It
UFO.
creates a UFO.
I think UFO.
Don't ask
Yeah,
her.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
ask her. She's the wrong person
No,
to give you advice on
you
this.
gotta sew it first and then not be finished.
No,
But if you-
it's the starting of a project.
But you just cut it. Like it's just.
You didn't have to cut it. You didn't have to cut.
But
You
you
didn't have
never
to
get
start.
started.
You didn't start it. You did start it and didn't finish it.
I don't know, so Belisa. That's a technicality that I think.
I don't know. I think it's unfinished.
I think
You
it's
think it's
unfinished too.
unfinished?
Because
Show of hands. Is it unfinished or not? If you cut your project, you probably prepped it and put it away in your Ziploc bag
are you putting it away?
before you sewn it, because you're just prepping it. You're just getting it ready to be sewn.
Right, so you're starting.
Once you you're getting it ready. You're getting started and you're getting ready to start.
You're prepping it.
So if you cut out your pattern, your fabric, and you fold it away in the storage bag, before you've taken a single stitch, is that considered a UFO? Please tell me. I agree with you, something. It is not a UFO. It is preparation. Thank you, Kim. But it wasn't started.
Okay,
you
let's
know,
give
but
it a
you don't know how
timeline.
long,
Yeah, how long?
How
I think it's a
long you wanna let it
timeline.
sit
Oh,
there?
that's
Right. No,
That's
I think
Yeah.
there's stipulations that should be
Yeah.
considered.
Yeah. Okay. Kim Times has a nicer way. She calls it a PhD. That's a project half done.
Yes. Okay.
So
Right.
your PhD in sewing.
Oh,
Prepping
so,
is a part of starting. Khadijah.
thank you, Khadijah.
Thank you, Bernice. Bernice says no. That
No,
doesn't
no.
count.
Right. And
So
so
me,
everybody
Bernice,
that says
and
no, how
Bernice,
many
so
projects
Belisa
have
and
y'all
I-
finished?
Don't worry about that. Bernice and so Belisa and I are together in our. cut
I'm just
and
curious.
prep
I'm just curious.
side
So
of things.
for Bernice, okay,
It's
so
just
Bernice,
prepping,
hold
right,
on, no.
Suzette said it's just prepping.
And Rakisha and Suzette,
It's just prepping.
how many
Just
of
prepping.
those prepped projects have y'all finished or
Right.
actually gone back after cutting and putting it away?
Julia.
How many have you have taken it
How
out?
long have they been sitting
How long are they
there
sitting?
waiting to prep?
How
Okay,
many?
so let me-
Wait.
Let me
How
just say
many?
this.
How many prep projects do you have right now?
If I were to liken sewing to a hobby, which it is for me, one of my coworkers is a sneakerhead. Like
No.
they
How
collect-
many prep?
I got a story to tell. So listen, let me just put it out. Let me just explain it this way. So they're sneakerhead and they go to all the conventions and all the things like we do with sewing. They
Mhm.
collect the buy and all the things,
Mhm.
right? And so I said, well, how many pair of tennis shoes do you think you have? And he was like, if you can count. I went to a convention and the speaker told me, if you can count them, then you don't have enough.
Mm.
And so, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to my sewing projects, if I can count them,
Oh my God.
You see?
Oh
You
my
see?
God.
I'm not gonna bother to count how many have
Right,
started or completed.
right.
I mean, it's just a number. It's not a big deal.
Right.
You know?
So, okay, so just like
That's
Karen
all good.
said, lots of UFOs. Bernice
Jennifer
said
shaking her
she
head and
did at
laughing
least
at us.
75%.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
And I just want y'all to know, it's like once you cut it out and once you put it away, at this point, you're gonna fall down the rabbit hole like Markeisha
Oh my
and you spend
God.
all your time prepping.
Yeah.
All your time prepping.
But when it's that day and I gotta go to the
Wait,
day at 1
wait,
o'clock
wait.
and I got it ready by 5, I
No.
don't have to waste that time cutting. I
No.
just pull that bag and
No.
Get on out the door.
No. It's first. I think the point that we're trying to get is that if you prep your project and you want to, cut it out and put it there, you got to plan to finish it within that time frame. If you prep it and put it away,
me too, Ada.
all you will have is a bunch of project bags filled with cut fabric.
Right.
Like, why did you? It's like you spent all the time prepping it. And it's a UFO. Because now, if the person,
y'all feel me? We gotta hold it. We'll talk later.
if you can't count
We'll talk
it,
offline.
if you have so many that you can't count, then
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
when does it become a project?
Once I make it and put it on. Once I start sewing it, then it's become like that's when it can be considered.
Okay,
because
so
I started, but I didn't stop.
So
I didn't
all right,
finish.
real question. When do you make the project?
When I need it. I mean, duh.
So okay,
I'm gonna wear it. Why not?
okay, all right. So okay,
So she'll have a UFO in a bag, and 6 months down the line, oh wait, I got this in the bag.
Let's go. Let's go. And I'm ready.
UFO.
no, it's a UFO. It's no reason why you cut that code out and you're not going to start working on it until December. You didn't need to cut the code out if it's not you're not gonna wear it until
But it was
December.
cutting day. I was in a cutting mood. So let's go ahead and do it.
You're cutting like.
You're not gonna feel like cutting it. Like Rhonda just said, you don't want to have to cut. So it's like when it's time to cut, you cut.
Okay.
So you sew.
I know for me, once I cut, that means I'm getting ready to sew.
I'm getting ready to sew it.
I'm getting ready to
I
sew.
mean,
I'm
I
getting
mean,
ready
I
to
might not do it right then and there,
Right.
but within
It's something. It gotta get
time,
done in the time frame. It gotta.
It's going to be done.
Because you don't go back to it.
Right.
You move. I think because with creators, we move on to the next thing so
Yeah.
fast.
I like that so, but she's labeling her box preparation.
Yes,
I like that.
label your box preparations
I
and
love
put a date on that that label bag, okay, of when you need to get this done. They probably wouldn't be UFOs if you were cutting on like if you had like let's say you say, okay, I want to get these 2 projects done in this month. Let me cut them out now.
Yeah.
Then that
Wow.
makes it like, okay, I am working on
I feel
something.
like-
You just cutting for fun.
Like
She's
I
cutting
do it
for
right
therapy
now.
at this point. This is therapeutic for her. Y'all are just cutting because y'all don't want to sew.
And
That's
that's
really
my
what it is.
creativity by making me sew it at this particular date and time. That's I don't.
Right.
I
Okay.
Flow.
So as we're
I'm flowing.
he said, oh see, Mark said it's not how many projects, but rooms of projects.
Mark,
Thank you, Mark. Thank you,
Mark,
Mark.
we're not talking to
Thank
you right
you.
now.
Mark, Keisha, I think he called you out. I think he called you out.
Don't let her wheel over here, Mark.
So we can conclude this session by saying that shopping for fabric is a hobby,
Yes.
sewing is a hobby, and cutting is a hobby too. Because and not finishing your project is a hobby. It's a hobby as
I
well.
might go 1, 2, and 3. The UFO not a hobby. That's not. We're not gonna ascribe to that. But I think cutting could be a hobby. You know,
Right.
there are people who pay people
So
to
what's
cut
on
for them.
what's on your sewing table?
Like in terms of
All
like,
of her project prints. All of
things that you
her
can put away, probably some jeans. I don't know. It could be anything.
It's all of your prep projects.
Probably
You should be
a
able
pair
to-
of shoes. Who knows?
She should be able to pull them out of the filing cabinet. Like, oh, which
Wait,
project I want to
wait.
work on
Are you
this?
saying so it's not a project, it's just some stuff?
It's just, and I guarantee you, it's not the project she cut out. I guarantee
She
you that.
said shoes, a pair of jeans. Those are not.
Okay, so wait. Karen had a question in the chat.
For therapy.
Karen, I hear you, girl. Karen has a belly bag. She can't get the straps on. Karen, please join our Sew Loud Facebook group and post pictures of your progress, and there'll be someone who can chime in to help you. I'd be happy to help. And, I hate to
Thank
do
you,
those
thank
later
you,
rounds.
Mark.
I'm like,
Thank you, Mark. It's an addiction, a wonderful addiction.
Thank you, Mark. That's what it is.
Thank you, Mark. That's what it is. So
God.
don't be like Rakisha. You can prep your projects, but if they go past a month, it is a UFO.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that. If you go past 30 days, it has become a UFO.
Oh my God. Bernice and so Belisa, thank you for joining with me. I appreciate you.
All right, y'all.
They understand me. They get me.
We're about to wrap it up. It's after 6 o'clock. We want to thank you all for coming in.
We got you, Karen.
Just keep cutting.
Thank you all for joining us. Once again, my name is Rhonda, aka So Cool. You have Alea and Rakisha. We're so glad that you all joined us today. We had fun today, y'all. We always have fun when y'all come in for the Sewing View. Make sure you all
check out our Intro to Sewing workshop.
Yeah,
we're about to start a beginner series called Intro to Sewing Workshop. So if you know someone, or if you are someone that needs help learning how to sew, beginner. Okay, this is a very beginner-friendly course. We're going to teach you from start to finish, like opening the box and getting started. So stick around for that. That is getting ready to come out, and you guys can head to our website. It's called Intro to Sewing Workshop.com.
Workshop.
Or Intro to Sewing. I'm sorry, Intro to Sewing.com, and you can register there.
Yeah. Or on Facebook, you can just type beginner in the comments in the comments. Reply to a post with beginner, and we'll send you a direct link.
And let us know what you guys want to see for the next topic.
For the next topic,
please share with us.
We definitely take your suggestions, and that's what we'll talk about.
Okay. You're the best, Mark. You're the best.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
We'll see you all next time.